Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to teach you how to conjugate Georgian verbs, as I know that they're not very easy to understand and also to use it in practice. And I prepared the slides and some sentences that I thought would be useful for you. I will try to teach you some techniques and tips to understand the method. And in the picture, you can see that the conjugation of the verbs is divided into 4 groups and 14 parts. This picture is from the book that is called Veliki by Nana Shautvaladze, so maybe some of you know this book already, maybe you use it. As we see in the first group, we have 6 parts of the verbs, and they have their kind of endings. So you see the stem, which is what is left from the verb after you remove the ending. And it's not just for verbs, but it can be also for nouns. For example, if in English the word can be, for example, the verb can be working, then maybe stem is work. And you see that we have different variations. And I'm not to talk about all of them, just quickly I will tell you that if you know how to conjugate, for example, one of them, then you know how to conjugate other verbs that have the same ending. For example, if you look at the second group, you see there is m and beginnings, which is just mostly for verbs that are expressing emotions, feelings, opinions. And today I will talk about the first group that are mostly expressing some kind of action. For example, I live, I make, I learn. What does it mean, V-system verbs? We have V-system verbs, and also we have the system of verbs that are expressing the feelings, as I already mentioned. Like there is a difference between saying I love and I live. That's because there are some rules that you may know already, but I'm not speaking about this today. And you can memorize how to conjugate and what are the markers in each person. You can see that we have singular and plural. Like I is singular, me, and we, čven, is plural. For the first person, we have v. Second person, there is nothing. Sometimes there is something, but most of the time there is nothing. For the third person, we say the ending s or a. For plural, we say first person v, and in the end t. Second person, nothing in the beginning, and then we have to add t in the end. And for the third person, it's n or an. Let's see. So the first verb that I'm bringing is mushaoba, to work. This verb belongs to the first group, and let's conjugate it in the first tense. To work is mushaoba in infinitive. Like I want to work, me midam mushaoba. I can work, me shemidzlia mushaoba. Let's conjugate it now together. Singular forms would be me vmushaob, me vmushaob. You work, shen mushaob, shen mushaob. Third person would be is mushaobs, is mushaobs. And then plural for we work is čven vmushaobt, čven vmushaobt. If you notice, the only difference in the verb between first person, singular, and plural is the ending t. T is used when it's plural. Same goes for the second person, singular and plural. Shen mushaob is you work, singular, but you work in plural is tkven mushaobt, tkven mushaobt. And the last one is they work, which is isini mushaoben, isini mushaoben. So if for the third person singular it was just su, now we have n ending. Let's see some examples. In the first picture, we see the hospital and the doctor. The doctor is ekimi, and the hospital is savadmukopo. And the question is sad mushaobs ekimi, sad mushaobs ekimi. Where does the doctor work? And the answer is ექიმი მუშაობს საავადმყოფოში. ექიმი მუშაობს საავადმყოფოში. A doctor works in a hospital. Then we have the picture with teachers, I assume, and the question is sad მუშაობენ მასწავლებლები. Sad მუშაობენ მასწავლებლები. Where do teachers work? And the answer is მასწავლებლები მუშაობენ სკოლაში. მასწავლებლები მუშაობენ სკოლაში. Teachers work at school. Now what is special with this verb? What is special is that this verb მუშაობა when conjugated is ended with ob, right? მე ვმუშაობ, შენ მუშაობ, ის მუშაობს. And by the way, the word musha means someone who is a worker, like worker in the field. And oba is just expressing the verb. Maybe you know the words like yorgoba, ninoba, tbilisoba, which are expressing the holidays. But that's not for today. And so the first group and the first part is for the verbs that have a stem and ob, which is mushaub in our case. And today all the verb will have the same ending. For example, ცხოვრება, ცხოვრება. When conjugated, we have ob ending again, and you will see that this is the same kind of conjugation. ცხოვრობ is the stem, and if you want to know what is the stem in the word, in the verb, you can look at the second person, and if we have ცხოვრობ stem, it means that this is something that most of the cases are never changed. I'm not talking about the situations where it's a regular verb. So let's conjugate it. To live, ცხოვრება. Life is beautiful would be ცხოვრება არის მშვენიერი. ცხოვრება მშვენიერია. Or life is interesting would be ცხოვრება საინტერესოა. ცხოვრება საინტერესოა. ცხოვრება is not like in English. It's the same word, life and to live. მე ვცხოვრობ, I live, შენ ცხოვრობ, you live, ის ცხოვრობს, he lives, ჩვენ ვცხოვრობთ, we live, თქვენ ცხოვრობთ, you live, ისინი ცხოვრობენ, they live. I will read once more. მე ვცხოვრობ, შენ ცხოვრობ, ის ცხოვრობს, ჩვენ ვცხოვრობთ, თქვენ ცხოვრობთ, ისინი ცხოვრობენ. In this slide we see the city of Tbilisi, and there is the question sad ცხოვრობ. And the answer is მე ვცხოვრობ თბილისში. Where do you live? I live in Tbilisi. Here we see a little dog, and there is written ძაღლი ცხოვრობს ქუჩაში. The dog lives on the street. It can be also in the street. Just taking consideration that there are lots of consonants together, not a lot, but it's like over ცხოვრობს. But it's not that we are like spending 1 hour to pronounce this. We just say it quickly. ცხოვრობს, მე ვცხოვრობ, შენ ცხოვრობ, and etc. Now we have the verb სწავლა, to learn. For example, მე მინდა სწავლა, I want to learn. მე შემიძლია სწავლა, I can learn. In Georgian, სწავლა can be for to learn, and also it can be to say to study. So it's for both options. And here it's again ended with ob. I study. მე ვსწავლობ, you study. შენ სწავლობ, he studies, ის სწავლობს, we study, ჩვენ ვსწავლობთ, You study or you learn. თქვენ სწავლობთ. თქვენ სწავლობთ. They study. ისინი სწავლობენ. ისინი სწავლობენ. I will remind you that we don't have present continuous or present simple in Georgia. There is not a difference. It's just the same thing. So you have to know this. And here we see that they're the kids at school. So there is written ბავშვები სწავლობენ სკოლაში. ბავშვები სწავლობენ სკოლაში. Kids study at school. Here we see the board. And there is the picture of Jakob Gogobashvili, the person who wrote a book, Dedaina, which is used to study Georgian language for Georgian kids. And you see there's written, we are learning Georgian. ჩვენ ვსწავლობთ ქართულს. ჩვენ ვსწავლობთ ქართულს. Ქართული means Georgian is a language. And you cannot just say ჩვენ ვსწავლობთ ქართული. You have to say ჩვენ ვსწავლობთ ქართულს. Whatever you are studying, don't forget to use it, a dative case for that word. If you're learning English, you have to say მე ვსწავლობ ინგლისურს, ჩინურს, ესპანურს, იტალიურს. Whatever you want to say. And the next one is to talk. Also, it means to speak. And it is ლაპარაკი. ლაპარაკი. მე მინდა ლაპარაკი. I want to speak. არ შემიძლია ლაპარაკი. I cannot talk. I speak. მე ვლაპარაკობ. You speak. შენ ლაპარაკობ. He speaks. ის ლაპარაკობს. We speak. ჩვენ ვლაპარაკობთ. You speak. თქვენ ვლაპარაკობთ. They speak. ისინი ლაპარაკობენ. And we see a little girl, პატარა გოგო, and she is talking on a phone and she's saying ვლაპარაკობ ტელეფონზე. ვლაპარაკობ ტელეფონზე. Ze is the past position that is showing us, like in English you would say on, and if you want to say you're talking on a phone, you say telefonze. Okay, we have some sentences. The first one is we speak Georgian, which is ჩვენ ვლაპარაკობთ ქართულად. ჩვენ ვლაპარაკობთ ქართულად. Don't forget that if you use the verb to speak, you have to say ქართულად, and you cannot say ქართული. Next one, we speak Chinese. ჩვენ ვლაპარაკობთ ჩინურად. ჩვენ ვლაპარაკობთ ჩინურად. The next one, I speak slowly. მე ვლაპარაკობ ნელა. მე ვლაპარაკობ ნელა. Neli means slow. Nela means slowly. Neli is also a name of a woman in Georgia, not only. The next one is you speak fast, which is შენ ვლაპარაკობ ჩქარა. შენ ვლაპარაკობ ჩქარა. Chkari is fast, like chkari lapαρaki, fast talking, or chkari mankana, fast car is an adjective. But if you want to say it with a verb, you have to say chkara. The next one is qidva, to buy. Me minda qidva, I want to buy. Shemizlia qidva, vitsi qidva, ar minda qidva. Qidva gaqidva, to buy and to sell. I buy, me vqidulob, me vqidulob. You buy, shen qidulob, shen qidulob. You are buying, is qidulobs, is qidulobs. He is buying. We are buying. Ჩვენ ვყიდულობთ. ჩვენ ვყიდულობთ. You are buying. თქვენ ყიდულობთ. თქვენ ყიდულობთ. They buy. ისინი ყიდულობენ. ისინი ყიდულობენ. My recommendation would be to read them aloud, because just looking at these verbs is not any useful. You have to say it aloud, so also your mouth, your ears, everything that you have can memorize this word. We see a boy that is buying some things, products, and you can say is qidulobs produktebs. Is qidulobs produktebs. Like we were saying with learning something, and this something has to be in dative case, same goes for products. And same goes for the verb to buy. Is ყიდულობს პროდუქტებს, because this is the action that is going towards something, and subject is the person who is buying, and პროდუქტი is the object. So you have to say პროდუქტებს. If there was a phone instead, you would say is ყიდულობს ტელეფონს, is ყიდულობს პიცას, is ყიდულობს პურს, etc. აქ არის ბაზარი. There is the market here, and there is written Emily buys vegetables at the market. Emily ყიდულობს ბოსტნეულს ბაზარში. Emily ყიდულობს ბოსტნეულს ბაზარში. Emily is the subject, she goes first. Then we have the verb ყიდულობს. Then we have the object, which is in dative case, ბოსტნეულს. And then we have the place, which is in with a postposition she. Bazarshi, at the market. Next one. She is buying on Amazon. Is ყიდულობს Amazonze. Is ყიდულობს Amazonze. In this case, we use postposition ze. Amazoni, Amazonze. Okay, we have a little exercise here. We have the verbs ვცხოვრობ, ვმუშაობთ, ლაპარაკობს, ყიდულობ, სწავლობ, and then we have პურს მაღაზიაში, ბიზნესის ფაკულტეტზე, თბილისის ცენტრში, მენეჯერის პოზიციაზე ორგანიზაციაში, and the last one is ტელეფონზე. So you have to connect the verbs with the rest of the sentence. Do not think that you have only one option. So I will do it now. ცხოვრობ will go with თბილისის ცენტრში. ვცხოვრობ თბილისის ცენტრში. Next one is ვმუშაობთ. We work. ვმუშაობთ. I would choose მენეჯერის პოზიციაზე ორგანიზაციაში. In the organization, on a position of manager. But you could also say ვმუშაობთ თბილისის ცენტრში, which means we work in the center of Tbilisi. The next one is ლაპარაკობს. Ლაპარაკობს means he is speaking, and I would choose ტელეფონზე, on a phone. But you see that the second one is businesses ფაკულტეტზე, and if someone is talking about the faculty of business, you can even say ლაპარაკობს businesses ფაკულტეტზე. Or now let's do the next one, which is ყიდულობ. ყიდულობ means you are buying, and I would choose პურს მაღაზიაში. პურს მაღაზიაში. You are buying bread in the shop, in a store. პურს. ავრომაჯი, dative case. We cannot say ყიდულობ პური. You can say იყიდა პური. He bought bread, because this is the past simple. It's done. You can also say he has bought bread, just without dative case. But in this case, we cannot. When it's past simple, and when it's happening even now, or if it's past continuous, you have to still use dative case. Okay, and the next one is also, you can say, ყიდულობ თბილისის ცენტრში. You are buying in the center of Tbilisi. If you're buying the house, for example, you can say that. And the last one is სწავლობთ. სწავლობთ means you are studying, so it would go with businesses ფაკულტეტზე, on the faculty of business. The order, the structure of words in Georgian doesn't go as it is in English. It kind of goes reversed. So if in English you would say on the faculty of business, in Georgian it would be ფაკულტეტზე in the end, and before you would say businesses ფაკულტეტზე. Okay, these are all the verbs that we were using in practice. Here we have a little picture of the verbs in infinitive and then in third person, because sometimes it's kind of complicated. We have the verb pikri, to think, and then we say pikrops, he's thinking. Why am I showing you this? Because if you know how to conjugate vmushaob, vtschovrop, etc., then you know how to conjugate all these verbs. So I thought it would be a good idea for you to make a screenshot. You can even make some sentences. I will just read these verbs quickly. Tamashi, to play. Tamashops, he's playing. Gzavroba, to travel. Gzavrops, he's traveling. Saubari, to talk. Saubrops, he's talking. Zeimoba, to celebrate. Zeimops, he's celebrating. Seirnoba, to walk. Seirnops, he's walking. Tschoba, to bake. Atschops, he's baking something. Kashroba, to dry. Ashrops, he's drying something. I'm sorry, I forgot in the previous verb I also had to write something, but just know that it's always that action goes towards something, and it's atschops. Dardi, to worry. Dardops, he's worrying. Khumroba, to joke. Khumrops, he's joking. That's all. I think that with this explanation, it's really easier and better to understand. Just maybe you can make some screenshots, you can even write some examples, and if I have time, then I will try to have a look. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe my channel and wish you a good day. Bye bye. Nachamdis.